Our guy Zhang Wei sneaks into a rich woman's house for some quick cash, but completely loses it in her dumpster fire of an apartment.
Since he is a neat freak thief with six-pack abs, he literally cannot stop himself from cleaning her entire place for hours. He leaves a note calling her a total slob, only pocketing $1,895 as a fair cleaning fee. But right as he sits down at a noodle shop to eat, boom, the cops grab him by the shoulder.
Plot twist of the century. The wealthy owner, Ye Zhiqiu, drops the charges and starts inviting him out every single day.
She pays for absolutely everything, until one night a glass of red wine slides down his throat. He wakes up the next morning with a sudden, terrifying realization. He is already trapped in her hands. So let us back up a bit. Our main character is Zhang Wei, a guy who makes a living lockpicking. Sadly, he never uses this talent for good, but he is desperate because his sick mother back home needs expensive medicine. The pocket change he makes every month cannot even begin to cover the bottomless pit of hospital bills. Honestly, when you are pushed to the edge of a cliff like that, dignity is the last thing on your mind. This is why his next target is room 1704 in a luxury high-rise on the west side of town. The wealthy owner is a gorgeous woman named Ye Zhiqiu, known for having flawless skin. She is picture perfect, and even her name sounds elegant. She has this untouchable, cold vibe, so our guy carefully stalks her daily routine for 2 whole weeks. Her daily schedule is as precise as an alarm clock, 9 to 6. She is a textbook office worker, making her a low-risk, high-reward target. She is basically a golden opportunity tailor-made for him, and today is the day he makes his move. He follows her to the lobby, watching her graceful figure disappear into the underground parking garage. He counts down for 10 whole minutes in his head to make sure she is not going to double back. Only then does he pull down his cap and casually head upstairs to her floor. The lockpicking tool slides smoothly into the keyhole with a few quick flicks of his wrist. With a satisfying click, the heavy door swings right open. He slips inside and gently shuts the door behind him. The entire move is perfectly smooth, but then the very next second, a horrific wave of rotten takeout and sour, unwashed laundry hits him like a truck. It is a bizarre mix of moldy odors and expensive perfume, and it is absolutely overwhelming. The terrible stench slams right into his face, making him freeze at the entrance. He seriously wonders if he picked the wrong lock and walked into a literal garbage dump. Now, we all know some young people keep messy apartments, but this is next level. Zhang Wei has seen some wild things in his career, but this level of filth is a first. The sofa is buried under a mountain of clothes, and honestly, the place is unlivable. It is impossible to tell what is actually clean and what is dirty laundry. Half-eaten takeout containers are stacked dangerously high on the table. Mold is literally growing on some of them, and there is nowhere to step on the floor. There are snack wraps, makeup bottles, and ripped-apart shipping boxes everywhere. He starts to wonder if she has some secret power to hover, because walking here seems impossible. Seriously? Is she flying around the apartment? This is insane! Is this really the elegant Ye Zhiqiu's home? Where is all that fairy energy? Did the toxic air just choke it out? Suddenly, his professional thief mindset is gone. He is completely overwhelmed by a wave of pure physical disgust. His inner clean freak is screaming, unable to tolerate this level of absolute filth. He gets genuinely angry because this is actually a beautiful high-end apartment. It has a great layout and premium decor, but she turned it into a landfill. How did she manage to live like this? He is honestly impressed by how bad it is. Alright, so the heist is officially on hold because this messy apartment is literally unlivable. Our professional burglar literally cannot even find a clean spot on the floor to step on. He thinks that leaving it like this would disgrace his entire profession, so he drops his toolkit. He rolls up his sleeves and gets straight to work, cleaning all the way until 4:30. Our handsome thief, Zhang Wei, who built a solid build from years of manual labor, is now putting his hard-earned six-pack abs to use inside Ye Zhiqiu's massive, messy mansion. Sweating buckets, he basically becomes a volunteer maid, clearing out trash and wiping down tables. He mops the floor and carefully organizes all those insanely expensive-looking designer clothes, sorting them out and hanging them up. Some go to the laundry while he tackles the giant pile of dishes in the kitchen sink.
They were practically growing mold. And next up is the bathroom counter. With cosmetics scattered all over the place, he cleans the mess while furiously cursing this disaster in his head. This chore is way harder than cracking 18 locks, but he finally ties up the very last trash bag. By now, night has already fallen outside, revealing a completely transformed and sparkling living room. The floor is so clean it reflects his face, and every single item is perfectly organized. The stale air is replaced with the refreshing, light scent of lemon detergent. He lets out a long sigh, feeling a totally absurd but incredibly satisfying sense of proud accomplishment. Feeling absolutely exhausted, he sneaks into the main bedroom, hoping to finally score some actual valuable loot. Inside the nightstand drawer, there is a messy pile of random cash and some jewelry. After sorting through it, there isn't much cash. Exactly 1,895 yuan, which he clutches tightly. Holding the money finally gives him some peace of mind, so he decides to just take it as his hard-earned cleaning fee. Even though the small payout is nowhere near enough for the brutal labor he just did. He finds a sticky note and writes down a message in what he thinks is very stylish handwriting. How could you ruin such a beautiful home and turn it into this utter garbage heap? Even as a professional thief, I couldn't stand the sight, so I cleaned since you left for work. It took a whole day, and I am seriously exhausted. I am taking the pocket change in your drawer as my cleaning fee, and please hire a proper housekeeper next time. He leaves this note, which is filled with pure outrage and professional concern, right on the coffee table, then pockets the 1,895 yuan. He grabs his toolkit, completely drained both mentally and physically, and retreats from the battlefield after a whole day of hard cleaning, while Ye Zhiqiu drags his exhausted body home. Ye Zhiqiu slowly walks up to his door, completely worn out from a super busy day at the office. Feeling entirely drained of all energy, his absolute only thought at this moment is to throw off those painful high heels. He wants to bury himself in a soft pile of clothes and pass out, so he inserts the key. With a gentle twist, the lock opens with a soft click. The door swings open, but that usual stench of overnight takeout and heavy perfume does not hit his nose like he expected, which honestly makes this feel like a completely different house. Instead, a fresh and wonderfully cool breeze of lemon scent instantly washes over him. Ye Zhiqiu instantly freezes in his tracks, with his foot suspended in mid-air. Is this really his home? Looking completely stunned, as if electrocuted, he quickly pulls his foot back and raises his head to confirm room number 1704. Yup, that is definitely his messy doghouse. Wait, did he actually call it his royal domain? He cautiously peeks half his body back inside, and his eyes suddenly widen in absolute disbelief. The floor that was once completely buried under mountain loads of trash is now literally glowing like new. It even clearly reflects his completely shocked and dazed face, making this the most satisfying cleanup ever. The mountain of clothes on the sofa has completely vanished, revealing the nice textured fabric underneath. And oh my god, the coffee table? He almost forgot it existed. He forgot his own table was glass, looking like a total peasant in a palace. Tiptoeing in sheer panic, he creeps forward, terrified of leaving a single smudge on this strange, yet somehow familiar, clean sanctuary. He gasps under his breath. Oh my god. Literally everywhere he looks, it is just pure cleanliness and perfect order. Rushing into the bedroom, he finds the bed that was once a chaotic mess, now folded so perfectly that even the creases at the corners look like high art. Fingers trembling, he slides open the wardrobe door. Inside, his clothes are color-coded and organized by season, hanging in absolutely perfect rows. Even his cartoon print underwear and those extra spicy lace pairs are folded neatly in their own little organizers, smelling like fresh sunshine and detergent. He gasps and covers his cheeks, a massive shockwave of heat rushing straight to his head. Bolting into the kitchen is even wilder. The stove is literally sparkling. The range hood is so shiny, it reflects his adorable, mind-blown face. And that mountain of dirty dishes in the sink? Poof, gone without a trace. Did a legendary clean freak fairy just visit? No shot, this is wild. Or is some secret admirer from the office trying to win points? But wait, there are only two keys to this place. One
is with him. And the other, right as his brain starts to completely overload, his eyes lock onto the spotless coffee table. A bright sticky note catches his eye. He walks over and picks it up. The handwriting is surprisingly stylish. How could you turn such a beautiful home into a complete pigsty? Even as a thief, I could not stand the mess. I cleaned all day. It took me a whole day to finish, and I am absolutely exhausted. I took the 1,000 yuan in your drawer as my cleaning fee. If you were too busy next time, please just hire a maid. Ye Zhiqiu suddenly snaps out of his daze and rushes to yank open his nightstand drawer. The loose cash is indeed gone, and a cold shiver shoots up his spine. A thief actually broke in. But seriously, does this guy have a mental issue?
He left all the jewelry and electronics untouched, only taking under 2,000 in cash.
And then gave the entire apartment a deep clean that is literally flawless. Ain't no way. He actually left a note to lecture him? Is this plotline seriously broken?
Suddenly, he remembers the hidden spy camera tucked inside the living room plant.
He quickly grabs his phone, pulls up the live footage, and hits fast forward. On screen, a tall, sharp-looking guy shows up shortly after he left. The guy picks the lock like an absolute pro, making Ye Zhiqiu's heart tighten. He is here! But wait, his reaction is literally identical. He freezes completely in utter shock, and the camera catches the hilarious look of disgust flashing across his face. He looks mentally broken, and then the most ridiculous thing happens. Instead of looting, the thief just stands there with his hands on his hips. Staring at this absolute pigsty, he takes a deep breath, making a firm decision. Tosses his gear aside, and then the camera records a live show of a literal cleaning miracle, clearing trash, scrubbing tables, everything. Mopping the floor and sorting clothes, his movements are incredibly neat and meticulous. Especially when he sees the guy in the footage, brow totally furrowed. Yet he is still hand-washing those lace undergarments left thrown around. Yes, even the most private stuff, and Ye Zhiqiu is blushing. His face turns completely red. Talk about peak embarrassment right here.
But he cannot look away from the sweating stranger on his screen.
1 minute, the guy makes a disgusted face at a stubborn stain. The next, he is secretly proud of cleaning some hidden dusty corner. Seeing this side of him makes Ye Zhiqiu laugh, feeling a strange spark. The thief looks so focused, his sharp jawline on full display. Every move shows off his tight muscles, especially when he bends over. Flaunting those subtle abs. Wait, stop right there. What is he even fantasizing about? Bro, the guy is literally a thief. The video footage freezes right as the man grabs the cash. He turns and leaves, while Ye Zhiqiu curls up on the sofa. His heart is racing, and his brain is on a constant loop. He keeps replaying the image of this incredibly handsome, fit guy. Who has this bizarre obsession with cleaning, entering his life like this? Crashing straight into his world. The more he thinks about it, the redder his face gets. His chest is practically pounding now. Finally, he takes a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart, and cooling his hot cheeks before making a final decision. With trembling, slender fingers, he picks up his phone and unlocks it. His voice is laced with a mix of embarrassment and excitement. Hello, is this 110? I need to report a break-in. His house got cleaned by a weird thief. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei retreats. As night falls over the city, Zhang Wei wanders down the food street. With over 1,000 yuan in his pocket, it feels incredibly heavy. Not because of the cash, but because his conscience is acting up. Honestly, this job was a total loss. If word gets out, his fellow thieves will laugh him out of the room. He is exhausted. Starving and drained, he spots a familiar noodle shop on the corner. His feet move faster than his brain, and he heads right inside. Ordering extra meat and egg, he slaps the cash on the greasy table. His voice sounds completely exhausted after a whole day of hard labor. The owner, Old Chen, readily nods and says, "Coming right up."
He asks Zhang Wei why he looks so dead, getting a tired grunt. Slumping into a corner seat, the warm aroma of broth fills the air.
The cozy street vibe finally makes him feel like he is back. Safe and sound, leaving Ye Zhiqiu's chaotic battlefield far behind him. His hot bowl of noodles arrives and he grabs his chopsticks. Blowing off the steam, he is about to dig in. But then Several uniformed police officers suddenly burst straight through the entrance. "Police, do not move!" And before our boy can even process this, his arms are slammed behind his back with a loud, sharp click. Cold hands lock around Zhang Wei's wrist, while a noodle still dangles from his mouth. The poor guy is just worried about splashing soup while the other customers stare in absolute shock. With every single eye on him, his brain instantly goes completely blank. Getting caught in this line of work is always a matter of time anyway. You cannot play with fire without getting burned, but he never expected it this fast. It has to be security cameras. There is no other way. Ye Zhiqiu's apartment definitely had some hidden cameras tucked away. He got so wrapped up in cleaning that he totally forgot his basic burglar instincts. Thrown right out the window. Suddenly, the officer asks for his name. A young officer with a stone-cold face questions him, and he mutters, "Zhang." "Zhang Wei," he says, keeping his head low while his face burns with embarrassment. Honestly, getting arrested is bad, but getting caught like this? That is wild. Seriously, this is so incredibly embarrassing. The officer then asks about this afternoon. "Did you break into apartment 1704? The officer keeps pressing. He admits it right away, since the security cameras definitely caught everything anyway. Caught red-handed, so trying to deny it is completely useless. Next thing you know, 2 officers are dragging him right out of the restaurant. They shove him into the police car and looking through the window glass. He sees judgmental crowd members pointing fingers and old Chen standing there looking hungry and disappointed. It is over, completely over for him. Break-in and burglary is no joke. Even if the stolen amount is small, he is still facing serious jail time. His mother is still in the hospital needing money, and he feels like a total failure. Sitting under the blinding lights of the interrogation room, he confesses the whole story. He explains absolutely everything, including exactly how he picked the lock to get inside, how the mess shocked him, and how he inexplicably ended up cleaning the place. He admits taking 1895 yuan as a cleaning fee and leaving that angry note. The officer writing this down has the most priceless look on his face. He is dying to laugh, but forces himself to stay serious before calling out Zhang Wei. "Is this supposed to be some kind of accidental community service mid-robbery?" the officer asks. "Or maybe just a random act of kindness," Zhang Wei replies with a miserable face. "Look, officer, I admit it. I just could not help myself. I hate messy places, but I did not spend a single cent of that money. It is right here in my pocket, and I am returning all of it. I will take whatever punishment comes my way." And with the paperwork done, Zhang Wei is locked in a holding cell, lying flat on a rock-hard bed. He stares blankly at the ceiling, with his mind racing in absolute chaos, feeling every single emotion at once. Then, the very next morning, while he is busy reevaluating his entire life, a guard walks up to him. He gets called out, assuming it is time for another round of questioning. He walks out hanging his head, but you guys are not ready for this plot twist. A woman is standing in the room, creating an incredibly tense atmosphere. The silence is extremely awkward, making him bury his face even deeper. He only dares to steal a quick glance at her elegant silhouette. Ye Zhiqiu is wearing a light blue dress today, her long dark hair falling softly. Standing right next to an officer, she looks quiet and visibly uneasy. But there is still this tiny hint of unexplainable excitement in her eyes. "You must be Zhang Wei," an older officer says, breaking the silence. After verifying everything and talking directly with Miss Ye Zhiqiu, "We have a few details we need to clear up with you." Zhang Wei's heart completely drops as he holds his breath for the final verdict. First, according to local laws, the threshold to prosecute for theft is usually set at 2,000 yuan. The officer pauses for a moment. His gaze shifts from Zhang Wei over to Ye Zhiqiu. Miss Ye confirmed the exact amount of cash he took that day. The total comes out to 1895. That specific number is actually just under the legal limit. The officer's voice softens up here. Once Ye Zhiqiu fully understood the entire situation, she actually submitted a formal settlement letter, letting him completely off the hook. Zhang Wei snaps his head up, staring at her in sheer disbelief. She is already peeking over, and their eyes lock in the middle of the room. Like a startled little deer, she quickly looks away, totally flustered. And get this, a soft blush actually starts creeping onto her cheeks. Showing a pretty obvious red glow, he literally picked her lock.
And swiped over 1,000 yuan, but she's completely forgiving him? Talk about a plot twist. The officer clears his throat to speak, trying his absolute best to stay serious as he addresses Zhang Wei.
Although his actions definitely count as trespassing into a private home,
Along with clear intent to steal, the actual execution was quite unusual. Taking everything into account, he is a first-time offender with a very sincere attitude. The money stolen was below the threshold, and the victim forgave him.
so the police department has reached a final decision.
They will not pursue criminal charges or open a case against him. No jail time? This massive wave of relief hits him like crazy, leaving him completely dazed. But then, the officer's tone suddenly shifts. The law is no joke, and illegal entry is a serious offense. That is an absolute fact. However, given the unique circumstances and the minor impact it actually had on social order, the department has decided to sentence him to 10 days of administrative detention alongside some mandatory legal education. He needs to reflect on this and walk a straight path. Be an honest citizen. Honestly, 15 days of detention, compared to actual prison, is a massive blessing in disguise. It is such a light punishment, he feels like floating. Zhang Wei eagerly accepts and promises to reflect deeply, repeatedly thanking the police for giving him a second chance.
He nods frantically as the heavy weight in his chest
Finally disappears, letting him breathe easy once again. Once the paperwork is finished, he follows the officer out,
Heading to the detention center, passing right by Ye Zhiqiu.
Zhang Wei stops in his tracks, scanning her with a storm of emotions brewing inside. "Thank you, Miss Yi," he awkwardly manages to stammer out. Honestly, he has no idea what kind of face he should even make right now. I mean, he broke into her house, and the victim got the case completely dismissed. He just gets a 15-day legal education detention with free food and lodging. Talk about luck.
This is a legendary level of luck, and Ye Zhiqiu just looks up, blushing slightly.
With her cheeks still red, she quickly whispers to him in a soft voice. She tells him she should thank him instead for cleaning her place so incredibly well. She admits it has never been that neat, her voice growing quieter and quieter. Just then, the guard nearby clears his throat to break up their little moment. Zhang Wei quickly hurries along, but his mind is a total chaotic mess. Like, how is this girl's brain even wired? This plot twist is actually crazy. Anyway, 15 days of detention fly by, and he spends his time studying the law. He uses the rest of his time reflecting on his life, completely figuring things out. No more shady business for him. He got extremely lucky this time, but never again. Next time could be disaster. He has to do this for his sick mother. He needs an honest job the moment he steps out of those prison gates. The blinding sunlight hits his eyes, and he takes a huge breath of sweet freedom. He is ready for a fresh start, but as he turns the corner, boom! A sleek, snow-white Porsche silently glides right up next to him. The window rolls down to reveal Ye Zhiqiu, looking absolutely stunning with flawless makeup. She blushes slightly and calls out, "Zhang Wei, you are finally out!" He completely freezes as warning bells start screaming inside his head. What is this girl's game? He nervously asks if she needs something. I mean, the case is closed, so why is she even here? Ye Zhiqiu bites her lip, looking like she just made a massive decision.
She tells him she wants to celebrate his newfound freedom.
She offers to buy him dinner just to show her appreciation. It is a thank you for cleaning her house. His eyes instantly go wide. Like, did he hear that right? The victim is actually treating her burglar to dinner? Because he cleaned the very house he illegally broke into. This is wild. He stammers that, "Miss Ye, this really is not a good idea." But she cuts him off, saying they should just forget the past. She already signed the settlement, so is he going to accept her invitation or what? Her voice has this playful, stubborn edge, but her eyes are totally filled with hope. There is a look of absolute certainty that makes it impossible to say no. Staring at her face, he feels like his soul is literally being pulled away. He completely loses his train of thought and just nods, agreeing to go along. Feeling incredibly awkward, he opens the passenger door and climbs right in.
The interior has that exact same clean scent as her apartment.
It is a fresh lemon aroma mixed with her own sweet perfume.
The seats are insanely soft and luxurious.
But the fancy setup just makes him feel extremely out of place. A freshly released criminal in a luxury ride with a beauty? Completely mismatched.
Honestly, even Ye Zhiqiu seems pretty tense, keeping both hands glued to the wheel. She focuses on driving, occasionally catching our guy in her peripheral vision. She steals a quick glance, finally pulling up in front of a storefront. It is an elegant, quiet, and incredibly upscale private dining spot where the vibe is pure luxury. Inside, the private room is incredibly fancy compared to the greasy local diners he usually visits.
This is literally a whole new world.
Opening the menu, her eyes do not even glance at the prices. Total boss energy. She effortlessly orders a bunch of expensive dishes and asks if he has any allergies.
He keeps it short. He says anything works.
Honestly, in his shoes, who could focus on food? His mind is spinning, trying to make sense of this wild situation.
Once the dishes are served and the waiters leave, they are the only ones left. The subtle tension in the room thickens as they sit before a table of masterpiece dishes.
Everything looks and smells amazing, but to our boy, it tastes like straight cardboard. He finally asks, "Miss Ye, why exactly are you helping me?
And why treat me to this meal? What am I to—" The word thief is right there.
But he cannot bring himself to say it. Still, she knows exactly what he means. A faint blush creeps onto Ye Zhiqiu's cheeks. Toying with the grains with her chopsticks, she keeps her voice incredibly low. She admits she was pretty mad at first, and honestly, she was terrified.
But then she checked her security footage and realized he was just built different.
He did not seem like a bad guy. She pauses, then looks up at him, her eyes sparkling with pure amusement. I mean, have you ever seen a thief who spends an entire day doing a deep clean of the house they broke into? Honestly, that is actually crazy. She giggles. Do you know how funny it was watching you mop? The face you made at those stubborn stains, and how serious you looked organizing my lingerie. With that perfect mix of disgust and dedication, it was just too funny. Bro, our boy is absolutely dying. His face turns red from his neck to his forehead. She literally watched the entire tape. I would actually pass away from embarrassment, guys. He tries to defend himself, muttering that his neat freak tendencies just kicked in. But Ye Zhiqiu suddenly bursts into a beautiful smile. I know. That is exactly why I find you so special. She serves him some food, keeping the vibe super casual, and says she actually owes him a thank you. Coming home that day and opening the door to see everything so spotless literally made her entire week feel so much brighter. But then she mentions she did a quick background check and knows his mom is hospitalized, and that he is desperate for cash. His heart instantly drops. He glares at her defensively. Did she stalk him? She quickly waves it off. She says she does not mean anything bad. She just wanted to help. In fact, she already prepaid a massive chunk of his mother's medical bills, so he does not have to worry anymore. Wait, what? She paid the bills? This absolute plot twist hits him like a bomb, leaving his brain completely fried. He immediately rejects it. He cannot take her money. They are practically strangers. And besides, he is literally a... The words tumble out before he can even think. But Ye Zhiqiu cuts him off, leaning forward across the table. She gets right up in his space, bringing the warm, sweet scent of her perfume. Ye Zhiqiu's breath brushes against his cheek, carrying an undeniable, lingering warmth. It is just a loan, not a gift. If Zhang Wei feels bad, he can just pay him back slowly. But pay him back how? He cannot even find a decent job right now, yet their eyes lock instantly. Those shimmering eyes clearly reflect his own messy, pathetic state. Easy enough. Just keep cleaning his place to pay it off. I watched your skills, and I am highly satisfied. 1,000 yuan per clean? Wait, what? That rate is absolutely insane, way higher than actual market value. Plus, those cleaning words. Hearing them at this incredibly close distance? With that look in Ye Zhiqiu's eyes, the vibe completely changes.
It is no longer simple manual labor, making his heart race completely out of control.
His throat tightens as his Adam's apple nervously bobs up and down.
Literal electricity silently crackles through the air. The room feels hot as Zhang Wei stammers to ask what this means.
He casually leans back, swirling his wine.
He says it means exactly what it sounds like, eyes still locked. Honestly, after that tense dinner, a bizarre connection sparks between them. Every few days, like clockwork, a message arrives on time with the exact same demanding tone.
The text says the house is messy again, so get over here. And of course, a transfer is already attached. Exactly 1,000 yuan, leaving Zhang Wei trying to justify this.
Just honest work to pay debt. But unlocking apartment 1704 always brings this intense, unshakable wave of awkwardness. Staring at the messy room always makes his chest tighten with a very strange feeling.
What even is his actual role here? Or is he just a rich guy's personal plaything? Ye Zhiqiu is sometimes there, typing away on his laptop for work. He just buries himself deep in the sofa with his laptop. But every couple of minutes, he looks up. His gaze drifts from the screen to follow Zhang Wei's movements. It is not like supervising, but more like quiet, intense admiration.
Not gonna lie, it gives Zhang Wei total goosebumps while mopping.
One day, he's aggressively scrubbing a stubborn grease stain. Ye Zhiqiu slides over in cotton slippers and calls his name. Do you only know how to clean? Sick of takeout, but Zhang Wei ignores him completely. If you hate takeout, go learn how to cook yourself, he snaps.
I do not know how, Ye Zhiqiu whines, sounding adorable.
Since you clean so well, your cooking must be great too.
Show off some skills, and that teasing voice hits him hard.
Zhang Wei actually drops his cleaning rag, completely unable to resist that look. He washes his hands and opens her fridge, finding it fully stocked with fresh ingredients.
Looks like she just went shopping, so he ties on his apron, ready to cook.
She drops her cold attitude, telling him she is totally down to eat whatever he makes.
So that day he whips up a simple spread of 3 dishes and a soup, using whatever was in there.
We are talking braised pork ribs and freshly steamed sea bass,
along with garlic broccoli and tomato egg soup, basically just some simple, comforting home-cooked food. But our guy controls the heat and seasoning like a pro, serving it up immediately. The second Ye Zhiqiu takes her first bite of those ribs, her eyes light up completely. She praises Zhang Wei, devouring the food like she has not eaten in days. She completely forgets about her elegant image, shoving food into her mouth non-stop. Between mouthfuls, she mumbles that this is way better than any 5-star hotel chef, calling his cooking skills absolutely godlike. And honestly, seeing her enjoy his food like this, it actually melts away whatever reluctance he had left in his heart. He even starts feeling a tiny bit proud of his work. And after that day, Ye Zhiqiu starts booking him way more often, but her focus slowly shifts from cleaning straight to his cooking in the kitchen until one day. He finishes tidying up her designated rooms and is about to head to the kitchen. But she stops him in the living room to talk, calling him over. With a warm smile, she tells him that he is an absolute beast at cleaning. And his amazing cooking hits the spot every single time, so she has a proposal. She needs someone reliable to handle her daily life instead of him doing random gig work. She asks if he wants to become her full-time live-in housekeeper instead, offering $10,000 a month with free room and board, plus she will cover his mom's medical bills. All the way until she recovers. Honestly, there is absolutely no reason for him to say no. Over $10,000 a month plus his mother's medical bills are fully paid for. Calling this offer generous is a massive understatement. It is literally like winning the lottery out of nowhere. It lands perfectly right where he needs it most, leaving him with absolutely zero room to say no. Honestly, he does not even want to refuse, so he quickly packs his bags and officially moves into Ye Zhiqiu's guest room, upgrading his status from a simple part-time cleaner. As her live-in housekeeper, his job is exactly what she promised, just cooking and cleaning, with some occasional errands. On top of that, her pay is insanely generous. She even gives him his first month's salary in advance to send home to his family. But here is the catch. The moment he actually moves into her place, that initial joy of hitting the jackpot is quickly replaced by an intense daily struggle. A constant mental torment, and the sole source of this struggle is Ye Zhiqiu herself.
It is like she completely let go of all her filters around him. Dropping all her reservations, her choice of clothing around the house starts getting way too comfortable and bold. Those tiny silk nightgowns and slip dresses basically become her daily uniform. The fabric is paper thin and clings tightly, clinging to her insane curves. Before this, he never had a chance to look closely. But now that they are under one roof, he realizes her figure is actually cheat code level.
She is like a wild rose growing out of control, absolutely stunning and completely unfiltered, exuding this incredible charm, while our poor guy, who's supposed to be her housekeeper,
has to deal with this massive visual temptation day in and day out.
Fighting for his absolute life to keep his sanity intact while constantly warning himself. He was there to work, and she was the boss holding his paycheck.
His mom's medical bills were in her hands. He absolutely could not cross any lines.
So Zhang Wei did his absolute best to play completely blind.
An oblivious, perfect housekeeper, even when she walked around wearing basically nothing.
He immediately glued his eyes to the table whenever she bent over to grab something,
showing off crazy curves, forcing him to turn around and intensely study the stove fire. But Ye Zhiqiu seemed determined to test the absolute limits of his self-control, constantly pushing his boundaries while time quietly slipped by in this awkward living situation. With her acting completely relaxed and him just trying to survive daily.
One weekend afternoon, she got dressed up and walked out of her bedroom.
She told Zhang Wei to come along, but did not say where. Just a movie, she said. Free tickets from a coworker. Can't waste them. They arrived at the theater, grabbed their tickets, and got settled in.
But once the lights dimmed, the creepy intro music started playing.
He finally realized this was a horror movie. Classic romance setup right there. He instinctively glanced over at Ye Zhiqiu sitting right next to him. The screen glow flickered across her face as the movie started, pacing fast.
Jump scares started popping off, and every single time a ghost appeared on screen,
or a loud sound blasted out, Ye Zhiqiu would flinch violently, gasping under her breath. Not even 20 minutes into the movie, she gave in. She had already unconsciously slid from her seat right over to him. Her arm pressed tightly against his, sending a slight tremble through him. He asked if she was okay, and she stammered that she was fine. She tried acting tough, but her voice was visibly shaking, claiming the AC was too cold, but he knew she was absolutely terrified. Suddenly, another extremely bloody and graphic scene flashed across the screen. Along with a character's blood-curdling scream, Ye Zhiqiu gasped in fear.
She shrank back instantly and dived straight into his chest.
Talk about an absolute win. She crashed right into him, smelling amazing. Her scent mixed with the sweet popcorn smell, hitting his nose instantly. His body completely froze up, arms just hanging awkwardly in midair. Not knowing where to put him, his mind went completely blank. Only the feeling of her trembling body felt incredibly, dangerously clear. He muttered that if she was too scared, they should leave. But she refused, insisting they could not let the tickets go to waste.
She mumbled with her face buried in his chest, not moving an inch.
So she basically spent the rest of the movie snuggled in his arms. He literally became a giant human body pillow, too terrified to move. He kept his arms hovering incredibly carefully right behind her back. Terrified of touching anything wrong, he completely ignored the movie screen. All his senses were locked on her as her hair tickled his chin. It was ticklish, her warm breath heating his skin through his shirt. Her soft body pressed against him was the sweetest torture in the world. When the lights suddenly turned back on, she scrambled back like she got burned. Leaping out of his arms, her face completely flushed a deep crimson. She is the first to jump up and practically runs away in panic.
Zhang Wei has to take a deep breath to calm his racing heart before following her.
On the drive home, the awkward silence between them is actually crazy. Pure romance manhwa tension.
She is completely laser-focused on steering the wheel while he just stares out at the passing night landscape.
But he still cannot shake off how soft she felt in his arms and that pounding heartbeat.
That feeling lingers, though he honestly thinks they are just going to move past this whole moment.
But then, boom, in the dead of night, while he is half asleep, someone starts softly knocking on his bedroom door.
Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei.
Are you awake? Ye Zhiqiu's soft voice drifts in from the other side of the door.
With a slightly nervous tone, Zhang Wei drags himself out of bed to open the door.
And oh my god, she is wearing this incredibly sheer silk nightgown. Now that is insane.
With just a thin jacket loosely thrown over her shoulders.
She is standing barefoot at his doorway, holding a pillow tightly against her chest.
Her eyes are slightly red, making her look exactly like a startled, helpless little rabbit.
She whispers that she's scared because scenes from that horror movie keep flashing in her head.
She cannot sleep at all and asks if she can just crash on his floor tonight. Looking at her looking so completely fragile and then glancing down at her barely there nightgown, which is basically like wearing nothing at all, Zhang Wei feels his head start throbbing like crazy. Like letting her sleep on his floor? What kind of situation is that even? A guy and girl alone is playing with fire.
But here is the thing, she is the boss who actually pays his salary.
The golden employer who even covered his mother's medical bills, and now she is terrified.
Since she is only asking for a tiny favor, he takes a deep breath to stay professional.
You take the bed, I will take the floor, she protests immediately.
It is totally fine, Zhang Wei says with absolute certainty.
And immediately starts pulling the spare blankets and pillows out of the closet. He tells her she is the boss, so there is no way he is letting her sleep on the floor. She silently watches him quickly and neatly set up his makeshift bed on the floor.
Well, thank you then, she says.
She whispers softly in a quiet voice before very quietly and carefully climbing up onto his bed.
He turns off the ceiling light, leaving only the warm, dim glow of the bedside lamp. Then he quickly slides under his blanket on the floor, turning his back to her and closing his eyes tight.
"Good night, Zhang Wei," her gentle voice softly floats down from the bed.
With a barely audible sigh at the end, he replies, "Good night," and the entire bedroom falls completely silent.
Only the sounds of their soft breathing fill the room, and you can hear her tossing and turning in bed. Even the tiny rustle of the bedsheets rubbing against her skin sounds insanely loud. In the absolute quiet of the night, every single sound is magnified 100 times. He does not even know how much time passes before his sheer exhaustion finally takes over. With his tense nerves finally relaxing, he slowly drifts off into a deep sleep. In his dream, he feels like he is back in his childhood, hugging his old family pet. A big orange cat he had raised for years, super fluffy and soft all over. Warm and cozy, smelling like it had been basking in the bright sunshine all afternoon. The little orange cat finds a perfect, cozy spot to curl up in his arms, letting out a soft and highly satisfied purring sound. He subconsciously tightens his arms, pulling that warm, fuzzy bundle even closer to his chest. Snuggling it deep into his embrace and gently rubbing his cheek against its soft little forehead. Zhang Wei is finally feeling this insane, cozy sense of security wrapping him up. It is low-key so wholesome. This dream is honestly too good to be true, especially after that night they shared a room. The boundary between Zhang Wei and Ye Zhiqiu is officially starting to blur, and we love to see it. She keeps finding new spots and starts dragging him out on weekends way more often. Her excuse is always the same. They need to experience life and stop staying cooped up inside. But honestly, beneath every single trip, there is this pulsing undertone. A total wave of romantic tension is low-key building up, especially when they visit art galleries. She shows up in a tight bodycon skirt right when he bends down to read the descriptions. She leans down right next to him. Next thing you know, they are at luxury stores. She starts trying on these gorgeous dresses with absolutely jaw-dropping price tags.
She will peek out of the fitting room curtain and ask him if she looks pretty.
These back-to-back dates and their daily life under one roof are really doing wonders. Our boy is finally seeing past her rich girl surface, especially when she's in a good mood.
She starts opening up about her past, and he gradually pieces her whole background together.
Basically, she is a textbook wealthy heiress. Her father used to run a massive business. It was a highly successful enterprise, and her family was loaded. But then, plot twist, her father fell terminally ill a few years ago, truly heartbreaking. Before passing away, for some reason, he packaged and sold off the entire company. He transferred all the shares, leaving behind a massive fortune for her and her mother. They have more than enough money to live worry-free forever. But her mother was devastated. Now she travels the world to cope, barely ever returning home.
As for Ye Zhiqiu herself, she grew tired of the flashy party scene long ago.
All that socialite networking just felt completely empty to her. Finding it boring, she took a chill admin job just to pass the time.
It is literally just to kill time. Zhang Wei asks her why she did not hire cleaners.
Or even a professional housekeeper. He finally brings up the massive question on his mind. With her family wealth, hiring top-tier help would be a walk in the park.
She could get a professional maid instantly. It makes 0 sense.
Why let her house become a total wreck and hire a random amateur thief like him?
Hearing this, Ye Zhiqiu freezes for a split second while putting lilies into a vase.
The lilies he just bought her. It is such a subtle but deep moment.
She turns around with a faint smile and says, outsiders are never as caring as him. There is a touch of self-mockery in her smile, which honestly makes it hit different.
It carries a deeper meaning that is hard to pin down. Her voice is soft.
She gives him this long, lingering look, but does not actually give a straight answer.
The mystery remains. Meanwhile, their daily life as a clumsy housekeeper and a rich girl goes on. Things are definitely heating up between them, and the chemistry is getting crazy. Then comes his birthday. Zhang Wei completely forgot about it himself. But first thing in the morning, his mom sends him a sweet birthday text. Just as he is getting emotional, Ye Zhiqiu slides over, looking incredibly mysterious. She tells him the weather is beautiful, and they cannot just stay cooped up. Before he can even say a single word, she drags him out the door. And let me tell you, this was not just a quick stroll. They're out from dawn until dusk. She planned a flawless itinerary in advance. The schedule is absolutely packed. Talk about the perfect birthday date. She actually kept his wishes in mind, taking him to that dream tech exhibition. The exact one he could never afford, followed by a fancy revolving rooftop restaurant. They had an unbelievably gorgeous lunch, and then she literally dragged him away. Straight into his favorite childhood arcade, watching him play shooting games so clumsily. She completely failed the rhythm games, but look at that energy. She is built different. She looked just like a high schooler skipping class under the sunset. Mu Liu carried tons of heavy bags, mostly her shopping haul. His legs were dead, yet he still asked what she wanted for dinner. It was his treat, but as the city lights flickered to life, a strange mix of exhaustion and longing suddenly hit his heart. He suggested cooking at home, and Ye Zhiqiu immediately perked up. Her eyes curved into adorable crescent moons as she happily agreed. They headed straight into the nearest supermarket to grab some ingredients. Pushing the cart, she was basically a kid, curious about everything. She tossed every single interesting ingredient right into the cart. She kept asking for his specialty, wanting to try Mulu's best dish. Carrying heavy grocery bags, they finally made it back to apartment 1704. In the kitchen, Mu Liu tied on his apron and dove right in. Surprisingly, she did not lounge on the couch, but grabbed a high stool. She sat by the kitchen island, chin in her hands, quietly watching him. Washing, chopping, and flipping the wok, Mu Liu was totally focused. The only sounds filling the space were the rhythmic chopping noises, the sizzling oil pot, and Mu Liu's occasional casual instructions, asking her to grab a plate or pass some green onions. And she happily buzzed around like a little bee, assisting him. The warm yellow light created an incredibly cozy vibe between them. Pure peace, and soon the final hot soup was ready. The table was packed with delicious-looking dishes ready to be eaten. Ye Zhiqiu somehow whipped out a bottle of wine that looked insanely expensive. She popped the cork easily, pouring the wine to let it breathe. Smiling, she filled Mu Liu's glass first, before pouring her own. Thanking the chef, she smiled warmly at the epic feast. And seeing her bright, smiling face across the table, his heart, it felt like it was completely melting. Honestly, this sweet slice of life is too wholesome. He honestly had not felt this cozy, homey vibe in forever. But just as he picked up his chopsticks to start the birthday dinner, Ye Zhiqiu gently grabbed his wrist, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. She teased that there was still one more crucial step left. The birthday gift, she said, making Mu Liu freeze up. She cut off his confusion immediately, standing up with a grin. Pulling him over to the living room couch, she told him to close his eyes. Absolutely no peeking allowed, she insisted playfully. Her demanding tone left no room for argument, so he closed them. He was super curious about what surprise this young lady was planning. Then he heard her light, quick footsteps heading off somewhere. She heads toward the bedroom, and the door softly clicks shut behind her. Minutes tick by, and the living room gets so quiet he can literally hear his own heartbeat. What is she up to? Just as our guy is about to peek, something happens. The faint, delicate jingling of traditional jade ornaments suddenly drifts through the air. It brings a light, elegant scent, totally different from her usual perfume. This scent is incredibly graceful. Then her soft voice whispers that he can finally open his eyes. Sensing her subtle nervousness and shyness, our boy slowly flutters his eyes open. His breath catches, his heart literally stops. Standing right there in the soft, warm glow of the living room is Ye Zhiqiu. I did not see this coming. She actually put on a gorgeous water blue hanfu.
The premium silk is fully embroidered with delicate lotus patterns across the wide, flowing sleeves.
This exquisite fabric pools on the floor like liquid gold, draped like soft clouds. Her long, dark hair is styled into an elegant updo with soft strands framing her face. It highlights her snow-white skin, making her look like a literal painting come to life. Usually she's playful or cute, but right now she looks like an ancient goddess. Pure, morning-fresh beauty. Seeing him completely dazed and starstruck, she cannot help but smile. Her lips curve into a gentle smile as she looks right at our stunned main character. She softly wishes him a happy birthday, her voice trailing off with a bit of hesitation, asking if she can perform a dance for him as her special birthday gift. Without giving Zhang Wei any time to process this, she gracefully lowers her hands. Her delicate fingers form a traditional gesture as the slow, ancient, atmospheric music begins to play. She begins to move, her long water sleeves flowing around her like drifting clouds. Her skirt ripples like a waking dream, moving with the grace of a flying swallow. Her steps are not professional. There is even a little clumsiness to it, but her intense focus makes it perfect. Pure, unreserved emotion. The deep affection in her eyes hits harder than any flawless professional performance ever could. So impactful, she spins. Her dark hair and flowing sleeves flutter, looking like a stunning lotus in the moonlight. A blooming blue lotus. Her eyes are filled with unspoken emotion, sparkling like a sky full of stars. Right in her eyes is the reflection of our completely spellbound main character. With fine wine on the side and a breathtaking beauty dancing just for him, forget the danger. All those complicated barriers between them completely melt away in this very second. Leaning back, Zhang Wei just stares in disbelief. An incredibly intense, almost surreal romantic feeling starts building up deep inside his chest. No shot! How did our guy Zhang Wei get lucky enough to receive such royal treatment? This absolute goddess of a woman has her eyes locked entirely on him the entire time. Nobody else exists to her. With a gentle, shy bow, she finishes her dance. Silence falls again. All that is left is the sound of their heavy breathing and an unspoken heavy tension. Thick romantic tension. Her cheeks are totally flushed and her chest rises and falls with each breath. Feeling a bit bold and slightly delusional, Zhang Wei softly asks her a question. He asks if she likes it, looking at this gorgeous, fairy-like girl whose eyes are locked onto him. His heart is literally hammering against his ribs, and his voice goes completely raspy as he confesses. Hearing this, Ye Zhiqiu's eyes completely light up, like a whole galaxy of stars just fell into them. She blushes insanely hard, moving over gracefully to take a seat right across from him. She sweetly tells him it is time to eat and try out the feast. Zhang Wei raises his glass to toast his master, clinking it with a sharp, crisp sound. That sound is like a silent cue, officially kicking off a night that is about to go crazy. The food is actually incredible because he put his whole heart into making every dish. These are all his absolute best signature dishes, and as they dig in, the vibe is perfect. They laugh and chat about their fun day playing arcade games, keeping the atmosphere super chill and relaxed. But then she keeps pouring him more wine, and her gorgeous eyes start glowing under the warm lights. There is a wild, captivating look in her eyes as he takes another sip of rich red wine. It has a deep, oaky flavor, and honestly, Zhang Wei usually has a crazy high alcohol tolerance. Normally, he can chug heavy liquor without flinching, but for some reason, tonight is completely different. After just a few glasses of red wine, a massive wave of dizziness hits him out of nowhere. It rushes straight up to his head, making his brain feel incredibly heavy and completely foggy. His vision goes blurry, and Ye Zhiqiu's smiling face across the table starts looking surreal. It is like a soft beauty filter just dropped over her, making her look absolutely unreal. Suddenly, his whole body starts burning up, leaving his throat completely parched and dry. His heart rate is going totally haywire, so he tries to shake his head to clear it. But trying to snap out of it is useless because the room is spinning even faster now. She leans in and asks if he is doing okay or if he just drank way too much.
Her voice sounds super concerned as she slowly leans her body closer to him. He can feel her warm breath right against his ear as he struggles to look up at her.
But when his eyes meet hers, that shy, innocent look she had earlier is completely gone.
Instead, she has this massive, triumphant look on her face like she just won the game. She is looking at him like a smug cat that just stole the ultimate prize.
Wait, the wine was spiked? Talk about a crazy plot twist. I did not see this coming. It finally flashes through his foggy brain, but the trap is already sprung. An overwhelming weakness paralyzes his entire body, and even trying to stand up is a struggle. He just sways helplessly, his arms feeling completely numb and useless as he tries to find his balance. He tries to force out a single word, but the entire room starts aggressively spinning. Right before his lights go out completely, his blurry eyes catch one last thing. He sees Ye Zhiqiu slowly stand up, her face flushed with a mix of shyness and determination. She is looking absolutely determined as her hands slowly reach down to her waist. She slowly unties the sash of her elegant traditional robe, her pale skin glowing under the lights. She leans in close. Her soft fingers brush against his burning forehead as she whispers something right into his ear. All he sees is her smug grin. That bold, playful smile is the last thing before total darkness. When Zhang Wei finally opens his eyes, the bright morning sun is blinding him.
His head is pounding like crazy.
As his blurry vision slowly starts to focus, he spots a strange crystal chandelier above him. The bed beneath him is incredibly soft, and he realizes this is definitely not his guest room. Suddenly realizing what happened, Zhang Wei whips his head around. And right there next to him is Ye Zhiqiu, fast asleep. His long jet black hair is scattered like seaweed across the pillow, with eyelashes resting like quiet butterfly wings. The silk blanket had somehow slipped down to his lower back, completely exposing his bare, smooth shoulders. And his delicate collarbones, seeing this, our boy's brain completely explodes. He instantly freezes up on the spot, not even daring to take another breath. Suddenly, fragmented memories of last night come flooding back, his elegant dancing and that heavy, drunken atmosphere. The undone robe tie and the blurry yet passionate heat of their embrace in the dark. And right at that moment, the guy next to him groans softly and slowly wakes up. Meeting Zhang Wei's completely shocked and helpless gaze, Ye Zhiqiu is totally stunned at first. But then, a gorgeous blush quickly floods his cheeks and he instinctively pulls the blanket up to cover his chin. He only leaves his watery eyes uncovered, softly blinking as he looks right at Zhang Wei. You can see both shyness and panic in his gaze, but also a tiny, sneaky hint of playfulness. He softly whispers, "Zhang Wei, from the very day you helped me clean up, I decided that you're going to have to take responsibility for me forever."